Hey team, just coming at you for Friday afternoon Ask Anything Q&A session. So a couple of things before I get into it. Our Facebook Growth Club has reached 400 members this week, so I'm really excited that you're all joining and participating and really loving sharing the content with you guys. We'd just love to know more about what you'd like to learn more about and improve your skills on this year. And I love developing content that's going to meet those needs. So the other thing I want to mention before I jump into the questions is to keep an eye out next week, because I do have a special guest coming into the group to share a couple of things, social media with us. So keep an eye out for that, because I know that's a bit of a burning question that everyone has at the moment is, how do I, get some headway on social media? What do I do? What do I post? So got some juicy stuff coming through for you. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, let's jump into this week's questions. So what I've got this week is a couple of questions to go through. The first one that came through was from someone asking, what are some incentives to encourage current clients to refer? So this is a really good one, because obviously one of the best ways to grow your rent roll is going to be to use some of the data and people that you already have available to you. Quite often I am asked, okay, well, what's the best marketing campaign, or who do I, how can I go and put signs up, or what can I do to attract clients to work with us? But when we look at it and I sit down and I go, okay, well, you've got 350 clients on your rent roll, and you've got, 900 leads in your BDM database, and you've got once I start looking at those numbers and, X amount of followers on social media, we can start to go, okay, well, there's actually a lot of people that we've already got names and numbers of that we know are interested in property, especially our current clients, because we know that they're the best because they already work with us as well. So we know that they've got investment property, and we already know that they know what our service is like. So referral business really needs to be a focus of most people on their rent roll. If you look at an average rent roll of 300, if I asked you, are you 100% sure that every single person on your rent roll doesn't have another investment property that isn't managed by you guys? Very few people can answer that to say 100%. I know that none of them do have another one. So if we can start to look at, well, how can we leverage that and find out if they do have other properties, but also then how could they refer business to us, then that can be a really quick way to grow your rent roll. If you 10% of those, that's 30 new possible managements you might be able to add to your portfolio. So a couple of things I'll mention on that. I just had a great session with one of our group members today, and we were talking about how you can leverage some of those times that you're already speaking to your clients in that property management process, especially for those of you who are property managers who are also doing the BDM role, to be able to say, okay, we've just leased your property, 12 months rent, 12-month lease, $500 a week. Are you happy with everything in regards to that deal, and you're happy with everything so far? And if they obviously say yes, then we can say, fantastic. Well, what I'm really trying to do is help more people just like you. A, do you have any other properties that we are not currently managing? If not, what's stopping you from bringing them across? Is the next right question to ask. But then the other side of the coin is, well, do you have any friends or family that I could also assist, or that you could refer across to us? And hopefully then being able to say, well, if you do, can you let me know their details, or can you give them my details? I'd love to get in touch and have a chat to them. So that alone, without necessarily having an incentive attached, if you're already doing a good job, most people will kind of want to help out if you sort of put it out in that frame of mind. But if you're wanting to add some incentives or run some programs and marketing to go out to your clients, then that's definitely an option there for you too. But honestly, I'd probably try it without even needing to offer those incentives at first. If you then go down the path of finding out they have another investment property, then maybe, yes, you would like to say, okay, well, if you're wanting to bring that one across, they can offer you a discounted management rate across both of your properties. So that's obviously like an incentive you can offer if they've got an additional one. If it's more of a case of you're wanting to entice them to refer business across to you, then you could look at some different options. I saw some in the comments on the question thread. around, okay, well, is there a free period that you offer to that client and also the client who is coming across to you? Potentially you might say, look, if you any client that you refer across to us will get a X amount free management period for you and a friend. So you might say you get a free month and they get a free month, or you get 3 free months and they get 3 free months. Obviously dependent on that coming across, not just the lead being referred across to you. And yeah, so I think that could be a really good strategy. And a lot of, if you look outside of the industry, a lot of gyms will do that. I know a gym that I've gone to recently will say, you know, refer a friend, they get 6 weeks free, you get 6 weeks free, like that sort of thing. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So those kind of incentive programs can work quite well because they're not costing you any money. So yes, I understand in the original post around not wanting to do work for free. But I think like if you're looking at it as the point is that you're wanting to grow the rent roll and help more people, to offer that temporary management free period, I think can be a really great way to do it. I have seen other agencies also offering, like vouchers and things like that for successful referrals. So you could look at, you know, $250 Coles My voucher, you know, $250 Bunnings voucher, whatever that is. So each business needs to work out, you know, what are you prepared to pay for a management as such, and then looking at that as, you know, an incentive program for your current clients, potentially also for your tradies, you know, anyone who would refer business across to you. I know, like a lot of recruiters and things do things that way. If you refer someone to them, then they'll pay you a fee, which they probably, you know, as most agencies will do, you work out based on what that cost is that you're prepared to offer. So that's definitely something that you could look at, is either, an option where, and I have actually seen one where they said, we'll do your next leasing for free and things like that, or we'll do your next advertising for free. So have a look at what fees you've got that might be attractive for them to have a discount on, to encourage them to refer. Your best results are always going to be by getting on the phone and having that conversation. And that's that, you know, clarifying that they are happy with your service, and then just asking the question if there's anyone that they can refer across to you. But yeah, there would definitely be some incentive programs that you could offer. Another option, just to throw another one in the mix, is, you know, if you offered like a larger prize, you know, I've seen people doing cars and houses, or holidays. I'm not saying you have to go that big, but maybe, you know, a lovely weekend away or something like that. You might run a program over 3 months and say, okay, well, everyone who refers into us will go into the draw, both you and the person referring will go into the draw, and we'll draw it at the end of the month. So that could be another sort of program that you would run. But let me know in the comments, like if any of the rest of you have some other ideas or incentive programs that you guys have run that have worked really well. Please share them, because I think, you know, where we can share those ideas and bounce off each other, that will be really great. But there's not much that replaces really good service. And, you know, at the end of the day, you can go out and offer the best incentive program in the world, but are all your clients happy, and would they refer to you, is probably the first question I would be asking, like yourselves, but then also the clients, to sort of see, you know, well, are you happy first before we're sort of saying, well, would you refer? Because if you send out a referral program and 50% of your portfolio is not actually that happy, they're like, oh, why would I refer to you? Then yeah, we might have some other problems to delve into. But yeah, definitely something to have a look at. And I just thought, like, one interesting stat that I saw was that it just sort of demonstrates how important referrals are. So 70% of customers are more likely to purchase if a friend has recommended them the business, and those people also have a higher retention rate. So once they do come on, they have a higher retention rate, and that's because of that social proof aspect there. So if you don't already have a focus on referrals in your business, I do suggest having a look at it, and if you want some help with that, let me know. But it's definitely going to be like a really great way to leverage off the people that you're already dealing with and talking to every single day, versus trying to go out and run a $1,000 marketing campaign or drop in people's letterboxes. Like, let's look at the people we've already got and find out, are they happy to refer customers to us, other people like them, and will they do so? Potentially, some of them will just do that, or potentially, yes, you might need that incentive scheme. But definitely something to have a look at. And yeah, definitely interested to hear in the comments below if anyone else has any other incentive programs that they've run that they would be happy to have a look at. So where's my next question? Oh, another thing, yeah, that's just come up this week and I've had a few people ask about is just other ways to celebrate your listed and leased on social media. So I follow a lot of real estate agents on my business Instagram account, and a lot of, maybe more in the sales side, but I definitely see it on the leasing as well. A lot of us are on there just going, yeah, I've listed, 5 properties today, or I've leased 5 properties today. And what I really would love to suggest, in response to that is, let's look at, instead of, I've done 5 deals today, let's start look at telling the stories about the people that you've helped and the type of people that you've helped. Because if your potential clients are sitting on social media watching you, then they want to relate to you. They want to buy into your identity, and they want to feel like, oh, I'm like that person they've just helped. So if you've just helped a landlord who is moving interstate for work or wants to pack up their bags and travel around Australia for 2 years, start telling those stories. So maybe instead of, I just did another deal today, talk about that on social media. Put a post on there talking about how you actually just helped a landlord secure an amazing tenant that they can have in the property for 2 years to give them peace of mind while they're traveling around Australia for 2 years. Or, talk about the, older couple that you've just helped downsize, or the young family that you've just helped, move into a bigger house by renting out their property. So I think that there's some really amazing opportunities there to celebrate those listed and leased opportunities, instead of just doing it the same way as everybody is doing and putting, 3 lease deals. And look, it's fantastic. At least you're doing the social media stuff. I'm not saying that it's wrong to be doing that, but if you have a think about, the people that you like to follow and the stories that they tell, and the people that you feel like, oh, yes, I can relate to that and resonate with that, I want to buy off that person or use that service. Have a think about that from your client's perspective, and think about, okay, well, who am I trying to attract? Like what kind of landlords am I trying to attract? Then, and having a look at, well, what can I be posting to show them that I'm working with people just like them already? So that's just something that came up this week that I thought would be good to share. So hopefully that's helpful for some people who are busy doing some stuff on social media. And the last question that came through today was what to do if the sales team don't want you to contact leads immediately. So just to give this one some context, obviously, if we're looking at sources of leads for growing a rent roll, the sales inquiry and sales, OFI contacts, can obviously be a really big source. If you've got a sales department in your office that's got, a decent amount of listings going on, you're going to be golden if you really work that and do a good job of building relationships with the people that are coming into contact with the sales team. And it's purely because, at the end of the day, if that sales team has one property and they've got 50 people come through or inquire on that property while it's on the market, depending on your area, sometimes 50% of those people are investors. Depending on the area, sometimes it's 10%, whatever that is. If you're in an area and it's the type of property that it's going to attract investors, and you've got 50% of those inquiries coming through are from potential investors, and one buys it, what's that, 25? One buys it, and then you've got 24 other people that are going back out into the marketplace looking for an investment property. Potentially some of those, if 10%, 20% of those actually already owned investment properties, we've got some really good quality leads here. And this is where I'm talking about before. Instead of going out and trying to run a big marketing campaign, let's look and make sure we're really nurturing these people, building relationships with these people. And the question comes down to, it can come down to if you're doing it manually. So if you don't have the IRE BDM software that we talk about in the group, that's okay. You can still get the sales OFI lists and work them. If you have IRE BDM and you don't have your portal leads switched on, ask me how to get that switched on, because basically what the system will do is it will sit behind your office's sales inquiries, and it will either identify keywords to say, you know, what's the rental return, or I'm an investor, and pull that in as a lead for you to follow up. Or you can actually also tag a specific property as a BDM follow-up property, in which case it'll import all the inquiry, all of those 50 people for you to go and call and build relationships with. So the challenge comes with the query in particular is around, the system in IOBDM can do some automated follow-up for you. It can send a message from the BDM as that inquiry comes in, or at a nominated time a few days later, and then you can have a follow-up date. So the query in particular was sort of asking, well, my sales team doesn't want me to follow them up for 2 or 3 weeks. So how can I then build a relationship with them if they've then gone and purchased something else? So that's one side of the coin. And then I've also got some other, comments and things have come through on that topic saying, well, I don't want to call them too soon to allow the sales team enough time to nurture them and, potentially deal with them for the sale of that property. So I think we've got to find a balance, and it really is about sitting down with that sales team or with the owner of the business and talking about the strategy. So not just saying, okay, well, I've got these sales inquiries, when can I call them? Because for the sales team, they're probably like, something that they say might ruin it, even though it's not going to happen. There's nothing we could do or say that's going to ruin the sale of that property unless we're completely bonkers on the phone. But it's probably talking to them about, well, what's your strategy going to be with those leads? So that you're not calling to interrupt their process that they're doing with those buyers. You're doing it to complement that. So if you sit down and speak to the salesperson, let's just call my Nick in the office. If I sit down and talk to Nick and I say, hey, Nick, what I really want to do is I just want to start getting in touch with these people a bit sooner, because my objective is to really help and support them from an investment perspective. Some of these are people coming into the market buying their first investment property. Some of them are people who already own an investment property. So let's work out a time frame where you're happy to call, but I also want you to know what my strategy is going to be when I do speak to them, because they might not know what you're going to say when you pick up the phone. So say to them, when I pick up the phone, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to say I'm from the property management or investment department, and Nick has asked me to call you as an added service, as a client of his, to say, hi, are you looking to purchase this property as an investment? How can I help? Have you purchased an investment property before? Here's what we can do to help you along the way to educate you. All right, so if they can know what you're going to say on that initial phone call, it should give them a bit more peace of mind that you're not going to interrupt the sales process. I have seen some clients as well sit down and go through the contacts each week, and the salespeople go, okay, just don't call that one, because that's who I'm trying to, negotiate deals with. But if they know what you're going to say and then tell them about, and then my strategy with these leads that I'm going to keep in touch with is my goal is to build a relationship with them so that then no matter who they go out and purchase with, I am then the person that has the relationship with them, and they will hopefully, if I do a good job, will choose us as the person to manage their investment property at the end of the day. And if then, long term, we have that person in our rental portfolio, then who do you think they're going to use to sell their property at the end of the day, in 3 years' time, in 2 years' time? So we want to make sure that they're with us, not X down the road, so that we can nurture them and make sure that we're going to be able to sell their property in the future. So I do find for clients that have taken that approach, sat down with the sales team, told them what they're actually going to say on the phone and what their strategy is with them, most of the sales agents will go, oh, okay, well, I can see that you're not trying to interrupt what I'm doing, but maybe I just go through with you once a week before you do your calls to just say, okay, don't call John and Sally and Peter, just so that they've got some peace of mind. You could offer that to them. If you do that, you should be able to start getting on the phones to those people a little bit sooner. And an average from what I see is 3 to 7 days after that lead comes in, is when, your follow-up date can be that you can start calling them. And the other thing that I've seen sometimes is the fear from the salesperson that potentially, if they haven't actually got back to that sales inquiry straight away, then they might have a fear that if your call comes first, it makes them look bad. As a business owner, I'd be like, well, that's just more fuel to make sure that everyone's getting on the phone as soon as possible, or the sales team has an auto response in place. IRE also has a sales auto response feature, with the rentals. So you've got that as an option, but, a lot of the CRMs do as well, whatever they've got going on. it's just as long as they're getting back to those people, because maybe they don't want you to call because they're feeling like, oh, what if they call and I haven't got back to them yet? So you just got to break down those barriers and have that conversation with them and just work out something that the business will be happy with. I know that every business is different. Sometimes you might be the property manager or the BDM trying to deal with the salesperson or the business owner. You might be the business owner trying to get your PM and sales team to work together. Like, there's a few different dynamics that will go on. But like with anything, just sitting down and talking about it and working out the best strategy that everyone's happy with is going to probably hopefully give you the best results there. And then don't forget, like, you can have the automatic email going out when that lead comes in through IRE BDM. You can also delay that for a few days if you want to. Just depends on the settings. And then you might want to have a look at, well, okay, what's then my follow-up communication strategy going to be? And this, again, can be communicated with the sales team. Like, you might have a series of 5 tips that you set up for new investors if you can identify them on that first call, so that then, you set up a campaign, automatically attach that to the lead, and then that can be going out to that client in between your phone calls to educate them on, how to buy an investment property in that area. It should only complement what they're doing. It shouldn't get in the way. But I can understand from their perspective that they'd be like, oh, don't call my people. But it's all about that transparency piece, I think, if you can explain that to them. So, yeah, hopefully that is helpful for you. And if anyone else has any suggestions on what's worked for them, would love to hear those as well. So that's all the Q&A questions for today. Please, as always, send them through at any time, or if I pop a post up that I'm doing a live Q&A, love to help answer some of those questions. I'm not the expert in absolutely everything, so please jump in if you've got some additional ideas, share them with the group. Would love to hear how you're going and if there's anything else I can help with, and hope everyone has a great weekend. All right, thanks guys.